Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Hey,
Hey, yeah,
hey.
the reason I jumped on was because I saw your message.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
I wanted to understand what Casey was doing.
Yeah, I think he was at work. So yeah, the main thing I was trying to tell him was that like he, I know him. Like I think about this like multi-level marketing. So like if you're working at multi-level marketing, they would say you need to hire six people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then go like three or four deep. And three or four deep would mean to meet someone they know and then someone that person knows and blah blah blah. And if you go four deep, you'll be able to maintain they call it a leg, right? You know? And what I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to tell him was that while I helped NFTs are worthless, he brought the audience.
Mm-hmm.
He brought the audience, right? So he's kind of that vector of engagement almost,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and gonna, nobody can tell me that it's not having an impact because this guy just quit his, ostensibly quit his job to pursue the conversation we had here,
Yeah,
right?
but right, but so the main thing that I really like so is the organic nature of it all, if that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
it's two things. One, the mood of Twitter Spaces would not be the same if the market was where it was a month ago.
No.
So because a rising tide lifts all boats, we have the Warren Buffett inversion of that scenario where everyone's naked. And so imagine everyone was trusting their own research, right? Like, and you've seen what happened with Luna Terra, the stablecoin ecosystem there. Not sure if you're familiar with it. Did you see what happened to Luna's algorithmic stablecoin? Let's see if I can find it. Here it is. So this is the reason that the mood has suddenly shifted.
Oh, sorry, I was muted when I was talking
Oh,
to you.
yeah,
So what I was saying was that yeah, it got wrecked, right? Because
completely wrecked.
right, but the thing is, the whole point is people. I have a massive, like, like 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 face palm. Uh, m- when I hear about people talking about NFTs and Web3, everybody who's
Yes,
talking about it is either a con person.
or a venture capitalist.
No, venture capitalists are just see, venture capitalists are looking at it as a flipping opportunity.
Yes, people don't realize that, and they're like me, hey, venture capitalists need to do more like value investigation. I'm like, I don't think that's the game they're playing.
No, that's not the game. They're playing day trading games.
Yeah.
So, so that's one part. The second part is people who are like evangelical, like truly evangelical about Web3, are completely out of their fucking mind
Right.
because A, they are young I'm not holding that against them, but the reason I bring that up is because they don't know that they're still on fucking web 1.
Okay, so tell me that. What do people think Web3 is, and what are they actually experiencing?
Okay, so people think web 3 is, first of all, web 3 is like every other fucking new term that everyone that's invented, right? It's the fad of the day, right? It's like The problem is that if we everyone's saying, well, the web is centralized, it's being run by a handful of companies, right? So they say, okay, well, we are hosting our web page, like when we are hosting our content, we're hosting it through Twitter or Insta or Facebook, or like there's a handful of companies that we use to get the 90% of the message out.
Welcome to the internet. Dozens of websites await you.
Well, but the reality of the situation is there are right now what, over 3 billion websites on the on the internet right now, maybe more. um Google has changed in the last 18 months. I've noticed a massive change in Google because they've changed their
Yeah.
algorithm. But up until then, Google was simply a good index to discover those websites, and their logic behind the way they put the best websites up was reasonable. And if you were smart, you could, jump through multiple pages because they would list all of them, and just track down until you found the information that you were looking for.
That's no longer the case. Half of
That's
my digital mercenary subscribers are from DuckDuckGo. I'm like, DuckDuckGo?
right.
Where did this come from?
DuckDuckGo has been around for more than now 12, 15 years now, something
Yeah.
like that. But and it's a very interesting web, search engine, and its philosophy is very in. I have switched to DuckDuckGo as my main search engine since in last 3 months, because uh, except for it also depends on what it is that I'm looking for. So, for example,
Isn't
if I'm
that
looking for
interesting? Based on
if
what
I
you're searching for, yeah.
it depends on what I'm searching for. So, if I'm searching for scientific articles, scholars.google.com is my source. If I'm searching for normal web content, DuckDuckGo is fantastic. I use that. If I'm searching for images, I use uh, Google Image. I use a couple of other image search engines. Similarly for video, like depending on what it is that I'm looking for, I use different sources. The one source that I stay away from is Facebook, because I find that to be just like that's like the trash of internet and should be emptied, right? Like you have a trash can on your desktop that you
I
put
mean,
all your garbage shit in. That's what Facebook is for me.
it's
Uh,
Facebook to me is like the wild, wild west. I have no idea what's going on.
no, Facebook is not the wild wild west. It literally is the trash bin. It literally is where you drag all of your bad content and you need to
Right,
empty it. But the only problem is that nobody's emptying that fucking trash can. It's just using up useful disk space on the internet. So
right,
uh, now, if we look at the web, the underlying web technologies, IPv4, right? Internet Protocol version
right.
4. The
I thought they
stuff
were
that
on
gives
V6 at this point. They're not.
IPv6 IPv6 is not going to come, because it is not going to because if IPv6 comes, telephony services, switching services that actually run the packets will lose control in a mm, and that's not something that they're interested in at this moment. It will
Okay.
come. It's IPv6 is alternative technology. IPv4 is your oil and gas,
Okay.
emotionally speaking. Okay. The other thing, the and okay, so leaving that aside, uh, IPv. The thing is, internet, actual internet, is controlled by a total of 144 or 154 companies. I can put up. I'll put something up on the Nest in a second.
Yes, please.
Out of which about 14 of them are the main companies that they control. So the way you figure out who controls the internet is not by looking at Google and Microsoft, and they have a lot of influence on the internet. They don't control the internet. The internet is controlled by the people who run the tier zero fiber, like the backbone, so to speak. Microsoft, Google, IBM, the big companies, they put their computers in data centers that are owned by those companies and are connected directly to this big main hub, right? That runs. So think of it as the spinal cord of the internet, and all the other neurons go out of the spinal cord into the rest of the body,
This
and
is the fresh water source.
right, and where the people, where regular humans who have access to the internet sit are at like the your toes, right? So the uh, in terms of if you think that you can run a decentralized software on a physically centralized network, which is controlled by and large by 13, 20 companies, and these are not the 13, 20 companies these are not the FANG companies, right? These are not the companies that people think.
Are you talking about like the Equinices of the world?
Equinix,
Yeah.
think about, yeah, think Equinix, right? Think UUNet. So if you Google Equinix and then Google tier zero providers
Right.
of internet,
Yeah, I
of
remember.
internet backbone tier zero providers, right? There's a
Internet
list of them, and that's it.
backbone.
That's internet.
Okay.
Everything else is not internet. Internet is just that. You are connecting to that net. You are connected to that internet. So the point is this: you cannot build something decentralized on top of something that is centralized. It's just not possible. A true decentralized network would work like this. You would have access, like there would be a non hub spoke structure, right? There would be multiple routes for you to get from one spot to another that exceed a number of your fingers, right? Right now, the number of ways your packet gets to Japan is 3. The way your packet gets to Africa is 2. The way your packet gets to Australia is 1. So what fucking centralized? Like there's a place where it's 1. So you're not decentralized. By definition, you're not decentralized because eventually it centralizes.
Are you saying decentralization is
Hoax.
something marketed by
It's
centralized parties?
at best it's a myth. At worst, it's a hoax.
Wow.
So understanding that reality. No, but the thing is that I'm not saying that I'm not poo-pooing the idea.
Of course, of course.
I'm not poo-pooing the idea. I think the idea is fantastic. The philosophy is fantastic, whatever. Or even if I'm neutral about it, whatever. But the point is, you cannot say we built it because you haven't fucking built it, right?
Mhm.
Because the only way
Yeah.
your packets are being transmitted is through centralized networks, which are government controlled. You think U.S. Department of Defense, NSA, the Chinese government, the powers that be, the real powers. Do you think they give a fuck about Web3?
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
reason they don't care about it is because they know its weaknesses. And whenever the fuck they want, they can press a button and shut that shit down. There, here's a different take on it. Okay, let's say everything let's say we did build a telecommunication network that was decentralized. Let's say we did that. Okay? Everybody's electricity's bitch.
Yep.
You you want to shut down a decentralized network? Shut the fucking power off. A true decentralized network will be power independent, network packet independent, will be able to route those packets through multiple independently protected routes to the endpoint that you want to get to. Now that's decentralization. That is controlled through airwaves, and airwaves are highly regulated. Right?
So you're thinking that for something to be decentralized, it can't run on fiber. It has to run in the air.
Well, there has to be an air component to it, or there has to be a component to it which is even if it's let's say even if it is run through fiber or whatever. The point is that you have to have enough redundancy in it, and those redundant factors uh, have to be separate. So, for example, if I were to run a Web3 service, okay, so now that we know the limitations of the infrastructure, right? We know that
Right.
this
The
is the world that we
infrastructure is
live in.
centralized. Yeah.
Right. So we know that this world exists as it is. Now, how do you exploit it to become the independent Web3? Well, if I was to spin up a Web3 service, I would spin it up in multiple jurisdictions that are in conflict with each other. So I would spin
Right.
up the same service out of USA, Russia, China, right? And they would have and spin it in such a way that at least two out of those three legs will have a um, will have a vested interest for my service to survive if it is in conflict with the other two. Like you
The
have
frictional
to stay,
equilibrium.
you,
Yep.
you have to play within the power spokes that exist if you are going to play this game, and that is a sophisticated, difficult game to play. I don't even know, like the example that I've given is absurd, right? And but the point is that you have to start thinking about it in those terms. You cannot be playing tic-tac-toe on a fucking chessboard.
How dare you?
That's good.
Right? I mean, and saying, wow, we are playing chess. No.
That's a rug, sir.
This is funny. I actually went to TabConf in Atlanta at the end of last year, the
What's that?
Bitcoin conference.
Okay.
So there's like a lot of core developers there and a lot of the original Bitcoin team there. And one of the questions that I asked them, I said, "So, what's the plan? You know, what have you guys thought about, especially like talking about Lightning Network, like these secondaries? You know, what are you gonna do when the government just you know, cuts the internet off, or like, you know, walls off certain countries, for example, in like Iraq or wherever, you know,
New
they'll just
York.
turn the
New
damn
York.
internet off to
New York, they said
anyone."
that institutional miners couldn't mine anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. Right now in New York. Megatron told me. He can still mine because he's not an institutional miner. But they said institutional mining is turned off in New York City.
Huh.
How decentralized is that?
People who play in power are very, very sophisticated. And they're much more sophisticated and they're much deep thinkers than people give them credit for. They
They
may
have an
come across as
incentive.
being dumb,
Yes, they have
but
an incentive to seem dumb, don't they?
they have a big incentive to seem dumb because the fight is not that. They want to keep the fight it's like work. It's a conjuring act, right? It's a magic act. You think that the problem is that the magician has a problem that you've given them to solve, which is find my card. What you don't understand is that they control all the decks, they control all the cards, they know exactly where what is, and they are keeping your attention where they want your attention. Right now, the biggest news article, despite this absolute horror of a tragedy that has taken place in Texas, you know, is Johnny Depp. What the fuck? Love Johnny Depp. Adore him. Think Amber Heard is a bitch. Personal opinion. But what the fuck? Who gives a shit? And if she, but even then, even if the gun debate, and sorry to bring it up, but it's been on my mind. I have kids. Even if the gun debate was going to come up again, we're shouting in the wind because this debate needs to continue so that people who have real problems don't get their voices heard. There is a local election going on here. Sorry, go ahead, sir.
Oh, I was gonna agree with you. It's a cycle, and it always has been since, I mean, as far back as I know. Guns, freedom of speech. I mean, there's a list of a couple of things. It's the exact same thing in a cycle over and over and over. And it's just a distraction to the people that can't think outside of the box.
Exactly. Now, I'll tell you a very personal, interesting story. My heritage is Pakistani. Okay. And I grew up as a Muslim. I am. I have an adoptive sister who is an Orthodox Jew. Whenever she is in my city, my mother hosts her. And we do all of the Jewish rituals that she needs as part of her religious practice. And as a matter of fact, it was very funny because, kids want Christmas irrespective of their faith background. One day in my home in Canada, there was the Muslim festival of Eid and Christmas and Rosh Hashanah falling on the same day, 25th of December, the ninth day of Rosh Hashanah, fell on the same day. So in my home, and by chance, my mother, who is also a little bit of a spiritual person and had come across a Hindu priest that she wanted, and she wanted that Hindu priest to say some prayers for me. And he had done some numerology because Hinduism has a lot of numerology in it. And he found that the most auspicious day to do that was the 25th of December. So he was there, 6 a.m, reading a shlok, which is prayers to the god Krishna. So there I was, in my house, celebrating a Muslim faith, which is a monotheistic faith, being blessed by a polytheistic priest, while helping my Jewish sister celebrate Rosh Hashanah. And we went to the synagogue together, and then coming back and enjoying Christmas present opening at night. I mean, a it was just a any excuse to celebrate. Now that's my personal existence. Now with that, I am uh, mm, I have my personal sentiments towards the current state in Palestine and Israel, and I am anti-Zionist in that sense. But I'm not anti-Semite. Um, so, given that background, I have a Pakistani politician here in my county who is using anti-Semitic rhetoric with other Muslims, couching it in anti-Zionism to win a local election. And I find that so disgusting because there is no reason for him to use that rhetoric against his opponent, whom I support. Her name is Linda, and his name is Saqib Ali. He's from Pakistan. He's of my same faith. Now, I am anti-Zionist, but what I don't like is him using anti-Zionist rhetoric to inflame local politics in a fucking county. He's running for fucking county. It has no impact on international policy of any kind. We have two synagogues, two mosques in this within walking distance of each other. There is no reason to inflame prejudice. I find that so disgusting. But that is a power play on his part, right? He's manipulating the public. Now, that's the game. Now, he's a local 2-bit politician playing a 2-bit game. And most people can you can connect the dot for most people, and they will see through it, and they will hopefully vote with a little bit more intelligence than just going along with the flow. But people also want to feel belonged, and they want to feel special, and they want to feel that they belong to a group that is above everybody else's, which is why racism, um, any type of ism works, right? Group politics is very powerful. The sense of the human beings are social creatures. They want to feel that they belong. That game is played with such sophistication at higher levels of power that you almost feel that you have power. Power is never power is that doesn't come just from within. Power is either thrust upon you because you are a person that people believe in, or you snatch power. The situation that we have with and there is a sweetness to the naivety, but naivety is not a virtue. You need naivety mixed with a little bit of skepticism because you've been burnt uh, to really act with conscientiousness and with effect in the world. And I think that's what's needed to bring about the type of changes that Web3 is aspiring to. Running a fucking NFT on Web and saying we have non-fungible tokens and therefore let's find uses for it. Okay, our use for it is to sell sell partial ownership of a receipt is weird to me, right? It has to non-fungible tokens are a fantastic technology, but they need a use that is apropos for it, I would want to use non-fungible tokens to sell smart guns that control bullets, so that every time you fire a bullet, your gun locks until you give it another non-fungible token, and that's traced with serialized bullets. That's a very good use of non-fungible tokens. And here's the fun thing. We have all the technical resources to build that today. Everything. If there was an NFT project that did that.
I mean, it sounds kind of a Machiavellian, but like, what if you just tracked a thumbprint to make sure that they were 18 before they could let off a shot?
Well, I mean, this guy was 18, right?
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah,
I've avoided
he turned
about it.
18. He turned 18. He bought 2 guns and he went and shot people up. No, the point is, when you are see, bullets have to be expensive.
Yeah, I think
Not
Chris Rock
guns.
had a joke about that. As soon as I get some bullets on layaway, you're dead.
Yeah, exactly. He said, yeah, that was part of it. But but that's what my point. Like, the bullets don't have to be monetarily expensive, but it has to be expensive for you to fire a bullet. Like from procedurally expensive to fire a bullet. Do you know why there is not many police killings in Pakistan?
What?
Number one, regular police officers are not allowed to carry a gun. Inspectors are the only ones who are allowed to carry a gun. You have to have a certain rank to carry a gun.
Okay.
The second thing is that inspector never fires a bullet, because every bullet that leaves that chamber, they actually have to file 3 fucking forms for it. 3 forms for every bullet. They have to explain where the bullet is, who did it hit, why was it fired, everything. There's very few police encounters where a bullet is fired. Nobody does it, and nobody. It's kind of unheard of that people die in police shootings, unless they are very well known criminals, where it was sanctioned by somebody that yes, you can take guns to that scene, right? It's a whole different, and that's a procedural control, right?
Right. Yep.
So that's a procedurally expensive bullet, and that's so, again, it's a contrived, absurd example of an application of an NFT. But the point is, the world is centralized because the power structures are centralized, because the very infrastructures are centralized and centrally controllable.
I think
The
that even the
only
real
reason
estate
they
is
are not
centralized.
controlled, the only reason they're not controlled centrally right now is because it serves a purpose. It serves a purpose to let me have this voice on this medium, because it detracts from the real problem. I mean, I am just sitting here. I spent 40-ish minutes with you guys, which means 40 minutes were not spent actually trying to solve the real problem. By letting people chat about it, nobody's doing anything about it. Because the dopamine hit that you get by just expressing your anger, shouting it out, having some people clap, and you feel relief, and then you go on to your miserable life until it all builds up again. You come back and you shoot the shit, and then you go back again. It's a perfectly good cycle. Keep people in it.
The conversation is the opiate, right?
The conversation is the opiate.
They had
Yeah.
that Black Mirror episode where they had the most. They gave the guy who was most critical of the regime his own TV show.
Yes, I mean the whole point is you've got you people look at why Insta is so successful, because people get the dopamine hit of the like. People, girls get the dopamine hit of the heart. They'll do almost anything for that. And the thing is, human beings are very simple creatures. They it's very difficult. It's very difficult to get them to do something that is hard. No one wants to look internally, and I'm including myself in this, right? Nobody wants to look internally and say, "What the fuck is wrong with me?" It is very easy. That's why religion works, right? Because religions that have devils work very well, because all the sins are absolved by placing it externally to yourself. The devil made me do it, right? There's no personal responsibility. It is actually kind of narcissistic. And because there's no personal responsibility, well, the devil made you do it. Well, okay, and then now, okay, what do I do? How do I deal with it? Well, if you give me money, I can talk to God, and I can take, I can get you to I can get you to be forgiven for the fact that you followed the devil. No, follow God. Well, how do I follow God? Well, listen um, to Jesus. He knows me by Phil Collins. You don't even have to get out of your chair. Just dial my 800 number and send me some money, and I will send you the blessing that you need to be forgiven. And it's a reset button. Life goes on.
Yeah, it's every Sunday is a reset button. They called it indulgences back in I think the
They still
1500s.
call it, yeah. That in Catholicism, it's indulgences. In Islam, you just say your prayer, you ask for forgiveness, and you hope that you're forgiven. If you do a good deed, it balances out a bad deed. No, it doesn't. A bad deed is a bad deed. It doesn't balance out a good. Good deeds are good. They stand on their own, and bad deeds are bad, and they stand on their own. Whatever moral standard that you have for yourself internally, there's a middle, and there's a left and a right. There's a dexter and a sinister component to it, right? To use the Latin uh, phrase.
Yeah,
But
there are two faces to everything.
well, I mean, every time you have a population, I was talking to Ali about this. She was so worried about how uh, a lot of people end up taking advantage of her goodness. Well, because she is not at the center of goodness, she is to the right, very, very far to the right of goodness, which means most people that she encounters are shitty people compared to her, because she's a really good person.
Right, right.
Well, if you're a really good person, most people you encounter, if you are away from the average good, whatever morality measure you take, and you try to live by it, and you try to better yourself, well, you're moving to the right of it, right? You're moving towards the good part of it, which means there are less people to the right of you, and there are more shitty people to the left of you.
Right,
Well,
by
which means that
definition of where you are on the curve. Yeah,
probabilistically, you're going to run into more shitty people, right? Who are going to
yeah,
take advantage
yeah.
of you.
Yeah, the expected return of shitty people is going to be such that, yeah. Yeah, she
Right. So,
struggled. She struggled with that a lot, right? Because how many people have her heart?
well, yes, but that's because of that. Just to give you to everybody else a background, Ali's a friend. She is a wonderful teacher, and she feels, because she's a very giving person, she feels a lot of people take advantage of her. But because she's a maths teacher, so I said to her, well, that's mathematically accurate. That is supposed to happen because you are to the right of good. You're not in the center. So don't expect don't expect a lot of people that you encounter probabilistically in a random situation to be good to you, because you are better than them and you are going to be more giving than them, so
It
they are
occurs
going to be on the receiving end.
it occurs to me that, the only role then is perhaps to carry the torch.
Yes, carry the torch.
Dave told me
Web3
that.
is a
Carry the torch.
fantastic Web3 is a fantastic idea. Decentralization is a fantastic idea. Educating individuals so that they understand the sophistication of the world that they live in, and then they can better themselves for their own self and for the people that they love, and to live a conscientious, productive life is a wonderful goal, and anything that empowers that is a wonderful tool. the the point is that one can it's not that you should simply give up when you see the complexity of the world, but if you do not recognize the complexity of the world that you are dealing with, you are not going to play a game where there is even an even chance, 50-50 chance of success.
I heard someone describe a complex space as a space where the input process output relationships are yet unknown and emergent. Would you say that's correct?
That is correct, but there are definitely ways to account for them, right? You so the systems that account for them are systems that probe it and learn and adjust. So you're constantly micro adjusting as those inputs start to influence whatever system you're trying to put in place, and you cannot. So you've got to be flexible and agile and vigilant, and it's not just running the system to achieve a goal. It's also monitoring that system for weirdness and anomalies, and whenever, if it doesn't work, adjusting it or replacing it or whatever, and be ready for that. Goals that my main my main frustration with the world of Web3 is the same frustration that I have with the world of cybersecurity, which is every time something new comes out, a lot of snake oil people come out and they start selling um, fake concepts and ideas, and they try to simplify the they try to make it into some novelty and simple sort of
Sounds like a knockoff.
quick fix to a complex problem. Oh, this massive complex problem of media information control. NFTs are the answer. Web3 is the answer. Okay, where's the logic? Have you taken into account all of these things? And then they're like, no. And when you want to have that discussion with them, there is no there is no there's usually a faith argument or a religious argument against it, or something that sounds like that. Well, you don't believe in it. Well, no, I don't have to believe in it. It is not a personal faith issue. It's not like I believe that this will do it. No, because we're not working with personal truths. We're not working with a situation where you believe in God, or you believe in spirit, in goodness, or those are personal truths, and they hold their own reverence. But this is not that. You cannot just revere this into existence. It's not going to work. If everybody believes in it, it's going to work. No, that's not. that's not how that will turn out.
Ion Laser sent me a lecture on this guy Baudrillard, and the guy Roderick who was lecturing was like, today the pie chart has taken on more significance than the crucifix. Ah, a pie
Yes,
chart. How
of course.
beautiful. And he said it's seductive because it purports to make the complex simple.
Yes, and that's the entire game. I have 2 minutes before I must jump. So I'm sorry for going on a massive
No, it's
rant.
great.
So please forgive me if I have inadvertently personally offended somebody with my words. But
I think
I
there's a
think,
difference between decentralization and distribution, and we confuse those terms massively.
yeah, I think so. I think that the etymology of it and the taxonomy of it is still in flux. Matt, before I run away, uh, I know that you messaged me and said that there was. You have my calendar, right, sir?
Yes, I actually sent it to them.
Okay, and I will be hearing about that at some point in time. Is the interest still there, or is that
Yeah, you'll be hearing from them at some point in the near future. The CEO is out of town, so we're waiting for him to get back.
okay? Fair enough. That's great. So, spooky, hi. Hi, Anne Marie.
Hey,
Uh,
Ahmed, what's good?
Hi.
hey, but
How you
hey,
doing?
Anne.
Hey,
I
Spooky.
just
Well,
I was
you
just
just
imbibing the wisdom, I was just listening to you.
Spooky, you have to sing Ahmed the new Unhappy song. Your new song.
Oh,
You
uh,
gotta
all
hear this.
right.
DM me the link. I would love to listen to it. Uh, I
I would just like to say very quickly. I know you have to go, but I know you mentioned about having time. Instead of being here, you could be doing work. I think being here a lot of times, sharing what's in your head with others. You never know what seed is being planted right in that room, who you're speaking to, like that.
I
That's
appreciate that, Anne Marie. I
you
think
you really
yes.
you really do not know. And you mentioned your friend, like what you said to her probably shifted her perspective, and you never
Oh
know,
Oh
yes,
yeah,
because
no.
of
she was
that gave her
she was
space to
crying.
maybe grow
Yeah.
or whatever and change. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. No, I don't. I'm not by any means trying to say that we should not have discourse, because I think discourse is fundamental step in exacting change. I think that but we should not get stuck in the cycle of discourse.
Oh, I
That
understand.
discourse should be the beginning of the process and not the process.
Yes. Yes. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yes, I understood where you were coming from, but I also just want to say sometimes those little conversations with people from your perspective changes their perspective and can change the world.
Well, I mean, and like, don't you have a background in networking, like deeply?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a group jumper. I have, yes, I'm able to go between groups. Yes.
No, but I mean, like, I'm talking not network. I'm talking about like
Oh,
actual physical IT networking, right? Wasn't that
oh,
your background?
oh, no, no.
Oh, I could have sworn maybe I got introduced to so many people through Casey,
Yeah,
but
no, no. I mean, no, no.
I love you all. I must jump. Bye.
I'll love,
Thank you.
I'll love. So NFTs, congratulations! You're moving to Miami temporarily or for good?
I'm gonna go down there and scope it out. I'm gonna try to figure out exactly next steps to be able to get down there.
So funny because my buddy works at Tesla here, and he was telling me about how he just applied to Texas for the Geiger factory. He's going to change locations. So Everyone's moving down south, even the Canadians.
Yeah. Yeah. Congratulations. Absolutely. No, you know, it's so funny when I jumped into the space here. So I listened to some podcasts with this man called Bruce Danner, I think his name is. He was talking about how the exact same thing, and this is like over 10 years ago, about systems and computers, and like, and how we're just layering upon the original system, and that is not decentral, and it was very eye-opening, and I was so happy to jump into this space and just hear that again, because I'm not very good at verbalizing my thoughts at all. I get very nervous, and then my brain freezes up, and then I can't. But coming in here and hearing that really confirms like everything I'd thought about it from the moment I stepped into spaces and was able to speak to other people and listen. I was like, there's something not right here. There's something not right here. And I kept trying to bring it up, and I kept being shut down for it. And I was like, God, it doesn't make sense. Like it just inherently my own logic, it just didn't make sense. And thank you guys.
It's kind of like preaching at a casino, though, because the price was so high.
Right. Right.
Everyone's winning, right? Everyone's placing their bets and winning. And then you come along, hey guys, with every bet, and then like, shut up, we're making money
Yeah,
over
exactly.
here.
No, I think that's why Casey and I immediately bonded. Honestly, like he has that financial, right. He's the financial side, and
And he's also
I'm like
lost
the
all of his
energy
money
side.
before,
I'm the
right?
energy
People don't know
side,
about KC. He's lost all of his money before in a rug pull in
dude.
real estate. So he's been through it. He sees it.
He sees it. He's been through it. He works in it. Okay, he's very intelligent, right? He's very analytical. And he's very good at expressing everything. So he's an amazing communicator, which makes him so valuable, right? And I'm from the side of like we're on a totally different side of the world, and almost different space, but we both have the same feeling, and we both kind of bonded on that. Like, there's something not right. Let's figure it out. So
But
yeah,
it makes it a very lonely place. These conversations are not popular. If we were talking about, blah, 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 XYZ to the moon, right? But it's like, I'm not interested because like, Dave Snowden, not the one people know, but the complexity guy. He said that it's interesting when you go to conferences because by the third conference, people are talking about the things they discussed in the first conference, and everyone at the third conference thinks it's a new thing, right? But they weren't there for the first conference, right? And so you end up with this echo chamber that was fueled by price, and there's a malaise on the whole web. I mean, Web3 was just, I didn't realize this, but maybe Web3 was holding up the whole Twitter space economy, right? Because everyone is flying high. But now that the wax on the wings have melted off, right? People are realizing that they don't understand how the wind works.
I
Right?
think a lot. Well, at least the people who got okay. I think Twitter Spaces is a very good example of what happens when when not the circus comes to town, but when the revival comes to town.
Oh wow, Jesus!
Right? That's exactly what it is. Like, that's what happened, and you can look at the market.
So what you're saying is Twitter Spaces is the new morning Bible study?
Well, it's worse than that. It's like that. It's what are they called? The people that travel the country and with tents and go to towns.
Oh yeah, the carnival.
Yeah, carnival.
But
Yeah,
but it's they have it where they have the tent and then they have like all these people sitting on just like those old chairs, right? The
yes,
plastic ones.
exactly. And then a
Yeah,
preacher comes in. You know what I mean? A shiesty preacher comes in. It hasn't rained for a while. If
hasn't rained for a while. Now it
if you
sounds Egyptian.
if you give things like that. I see Twitter Spaces in and people get caught up and stuff. People get caught up. It's not their fault. There's the majority of human beings, we're group animals, man. We're herders. We have that mentality. We're cows. I mean, this is not a dig on a pretty, you understand. So yeah. So so we follow, right? But we also, we have this mob mentality. So a lot of people are into that. We're like, ooh, what's going on over here? Positivity seems, and you get
Yeah,
caught up.
positivity is the new quasi-Buddhist
It, it
Alan
is the
Watts
worst.
1960s Ram Dass, right?
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
terrible. Yeah, Casey and I literally talk about it from the jump coming into the
Yeah.
space. Like,
Well, I remember posting. I was a letter to Spooky, and it was called "Branded Religion," right? Or we're gonna be we're gonna be mindful. No, I think you're just
No,
hanging
you're
out.
just the same fucking asshole that you were like the second before you said that sentence.
You're just using the language of religion.
Yeah,
Just
you
because you're
absolutely
using
are.
the language of it, right? I can say fiber optic. Doesn't mean I know what it means. They call that the nominal fallacy when you name stuff, but naming things doesn't imply understanding.
Got it. Okay. Yes, that's
Yeah,
happening. Yes.
nominal fallacy. Oh,
No,
that's Web3.
yeah.
Oh, is it? And I loved how Ahmed broke down the idea of distribution versus decentralization, the tier from tier 0 to tier. It's like, what's Web3? Tier 9.
Yes, exactly. And that was a conversation that reminded me of the same conversation that guy. I'm gonna look him up. You know what? He's really easy to look up. He was on Joe Rogan podcast, I
hmm
believe, and he was
hmm
going on about it. Yeah,
Well,
fascinating, actually.
I'm the company. One of the companies I work with is does physical fiber splicing, does network cable installations. A lot of people think, oh, it's wireless. Oh yeah, look in your walls and see how wireless it is.
Let me can I add this thought real quick? I have a call in just a couple minutes, and I want to
All
say,
good.
to what he said about it being layer 0, etc. When I went to the Bitcoin conference, like I was mentioning before, when I mentioned it to the core Bitcoin
Right.
devs, their solution was to put it on a USB stick and take it to somewhere else. But my question was to them is, what happens when you have layer 2, layer 3, whatever, and people are making all these transfers? How the hell are you going to reverse all those things if people are spending in multiple places, for example, and the whole network is completely sharded? Like, what happens at that point? And they had like no real answer besides, oh, we'll put it on a USB stick or something. I'm like, what? That makes no sense. I mean, even though the transactions are reversed.
Oh, did you get rugged? Hello?
Yeah, he did.
I think he probably got a call.
Here we go.
That probably that call that wanted him to get him on the phone is calling him early, saying, "Hey, we really didn't you?"
That's true.
Michael,
You know
did
what
you,
to say? Huh?
did you call me?
No. We were talking. I think NFT are worthless. He had a meeting, and it sounded like they called him early.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Oh, he did. I'm gonna jump out. I'm gonna jump into
Yeah.
space real quick. But if you
Yeah.
guys are still around, I'll look for you. But thank you again.
Amazing.
Honestly, again, like I really wanted to say that to Ahmed. Like I was just like, I think that was his name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, about that, because I really wanted him to, to understand that, I know he's solving world problems, and it's absolutely paramount that he does that. But it's also paramount that he possibly once in a while like comes out and has a little talk.
Look, I'm so glad I recorded this space so I
Oh,
can friggin' go back in and cut out that segment and press play and record and post it. Trust me.
oh,
These guys, like, to me, this is the real conference. I
yes,
don't want to hear 100 people, eh? Just put
no,
NFTs are worthless and
yeah,
Ahmed on the stage and
yeah.
let some heckler come on and we'll have them part of the show too. That's it. I don't need to hear 100 people.
Yeah, no. This to me is exactly what, this is how I learn. This is how you know what I mean? This is how stuff moves forward.
Uh-huh.
It's amazing. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna jump out real quick, but
All right.
yeah, stay around. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
I love
Yo, Michael.
Twitter Spaces.
Oh my God.
Poopa chapa
I
chipa
feel terrible.
pipa to popa to pop.
My whole day has been messed up, like
How
because
come?
I fucked up my sleep and the whole day felt like I was just trying to catch up. Like my body hurts bad. I don't know. Like it's crazy. Man, what's good?
No, I'm just glad we um because of the price drops of like cryptocurrency, everyone
Uh-huh.
on Twitter Space is kind of like sad, upset,
Mm.
quick to
That they
fly up
didn't
the
do
handle.
their right.
Well, this is the kind of market where even if you didn't do your research, right? Even if you did, you might have still, you know what I mean?
I remember you told me in the beginning how it was gonna go,
Mm. And
and
that's
we're here.
because I talk to people like Ahmed and NFTs. And then when you realize the emperor has no clothes, you realize, oh, the market is being artificially propped up,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, but again, I'm lucky I get a chance to ask Ahmed because all you have to do is ask him the right question.
Yeah.
And it's not like the answer necessarily makes me happy, but,
No,
I'd rather have
at
the
least you
answer
still have
than be
knowledge.
happy.
Exactly, you would have knowledge. That's it.
I remember Quinn told me that sometimes he just has to sit down there on his couch and be upset.
Mm.
And he'll
Why?
just sit there and just because of, shit that happens, right? Through the day, right? It's not that, anger is going to solve it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't affect him. It doesn't mean he's not upset. And so sometimes he just has to sit there and be upset.
Hmm.
And I think that's probably the most mature answer I've heard to, all this bullshit I've ever heard.
I know, right? Charlie,
Yeah, man.
I think I asked a lot of questions about this, and when I wasn't getting the right answers, I just gave up. I took what came, whatever didn't come, I just let it go. Atom is currently like, I don't know what they're working on. My dollar pay, I don't know if you've seen that on the status,
Mm-hmm.
where they're doing some form of crypto transaction. I don't know what the hell they're on about. But his crypto wallet says he has like over $7,000.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I don't know what that is exactly. And if Atom had $7,000, he would have 10 studios by now. So I don't know what exactly that is, but he's always promoting it. So probably I need to get on a call with him. He said I should call him tonight. So
Nice.
call him tonight. And we are trying to the guy that says he wanted to invest the $5,000, he says he wants to do a song. So I'm trying to get Atom to be the producer so that we can keep the rights to
Yeah.
the instrumental. Yeah. So we'll have a conversation. My Atom and I,
Yeah, I
and then
think, I think
hello, Michael. Hey, Michael.